thank you for all of you like myself who have given our lives to this industry, to that company, to WWE. Last night we had such an incredible moment. Um, and I'm just off work and I am firing up the space and I am ready to have a conversation. Hopefully, with some other great minds. We're going to open up the wrestle line. We're going to see who we can get on the air, and we're going to have a conversation. We're gonna really have a conversation. If we can't get anybody else on, I'm just gonna run through the show myself, and we can leave it for on-demand listening. Um, because there's a lot to talk about. And there really is a new era that we're celebrating. So I'm going to give it a couple minutes, and if we don't get anybody on the air, I will just discuss the show on my own the best that I can. So stay tuned. We do have someone on the line. Stampede, welcome. As you can tell, I'm pretty fired up, pretty hot, pretty emotional. I'm just getting started here, and if you would like to start off the conversation, just send an invite, and we'll get you on the air. I'm pretty hyped up. I haven't started talking yet. I'm just getting the show started here, and there he is. How are you doing, Stampede? What is up tonight?
Title, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Did you get a chance to? I know you mentioned I think you weren't watching it live, but did you get a chance to watch the Netflix Raw show?
If they're trotting Hulk Hogan out there, right, I am not watching that.
You really?
You're aware of things that he said, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You have no issue with that?
Well, do you think that's why he got the reaction that he got?
Well, when you say when he gets caught on audio, right, saying that my biggest fear is that my family gets reincarnated as a black family,
Good God.
right?
He said that?
Yes, he did when his son got in a car accident,
As the only thing I really know is about him
among other
talking
things.
about the thing
Among other,
about not
he's
wanting the daughter to be with the black man.
yeah, like they promote that stuff heavily, right? They just got into business with him. They're promoting his beer. They had it on the ring logo.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna look at it objectively. Um,
Like,
it's
here's a little
hard
light.
because here, well, I'll give you my opinion because you seem pretty fired up, and I do want to go
Well,
through the show, so I don't want to be hung up on this.
well,
But
no, I'm
I
not.
find it, I
I'm
find
not.
it,
I'm not getting
what?
on it either. But like, if a company
Yeah,
that has had constant, right, allegations hurled at them
yeah.
about racist behavior, and then you trot this guy out, guess what? Right? If you invite people like that in willingly, chances are, right, you have no issue with what they are.
Well, yeah, that we
It's
I
what
was
it is.
talking with
It is what it is.
another guy who was saying kind of the same stuff, how he really believes that WE is really leaning right. And this just kind of goes to show that. Now I think
But anyway, this is a wrestling room. Let's not get into
yeah, I just want to get my
that.
thoughts on
That's
well
like
I
that.
will well I'll get to the Hogan stuff later. So
As for the show, from what I heard on it, they had 4 matches over a 3-hour show.
yeah.
Right, there was a ton of filler. The matches, from what I've talked about, people that I trust their opinions on, were not that good. The Punk Seth match was a copy of the Punk Moxley match. Right? They did the exact same finish.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know what they're
Yeah, they
doing there.
did, didn't they?
They did, yeah, move for move.
Well, I think too, even though there was only a few matches, I think they really focused on the presentation. And I was sort of mixed on that because I know like WE is supposed to be spectacular and larger than life, but I'm kind of getting to that mood where like the entrances are almost like a little too much.
Well, Paul said it 2 years ago. We do spectacle the best,
Yeah.
and that's the first true thing he said in
Yeah.
his 2 year tenure, right? Because they do, right? They know how to do that. They're extremely good at it. The
It
problem,
used to be a guy's music would hit and they would just walk down and maybe do their signature taunt. But I felt like the
the pro-
entrances were really slow and I kind of found
right.
that ate up a lot of time. And
Well,
I
and that's
also
why,
didn't like, oh, sorry, I
and
was
that's
just going to finish that by saying I also don't like how after the entrance they do the ring announcer instead of like
right
announcing them. I didn't
on
like
the
that.
wall, right? Well, that's by design, right? Because the more you divvy those things up, the more time that it eats up, right? It's nothing changes there, and I don't know why people can't see that. Some people
Well,
like it; that's their
we
thing, right? And all the power to them, if that's what you like. But
we started off with a very powerful promo by Triple H, Paul Levesque. They had this sort of video screen, and it was pretty cool. It was like all like a cube in the middle of the ring, and they were showing all this history.
right,
Talking and doing the big thing, and then
well,
Triple H was in the what?
there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. Like most wrestling companies do that, if not all of them. Right? The thing that I can't quite figure out was Dwayne.
Yeah, we
Because
could start
everybody
by
was
talking about that.
because of every
I'll give my
because of every
thoughts really quick first. Um,
sure.
so he comes out, music hits, and I was really wondering. I knew we were probably going to get him, but I wasn't sure what exactly we were going to get. And what we pretty much got was, like I say, it's like, hello, WWE Universe, this is my house. Do you smell what The Rock is cooking? It really seemed to me like they were kind of not playing into that sort of heel character that he was around WrestleMania. It's like he's kind of reverted back to spokesman now.
It was a complete 180,
Yeah, I mean, it was
and
incredibly
with
shocking that he
with
made a
no
mention. Sorry,
reasoning for it.
sorry, I'm
Like,
pretty fired up for this one.
but I mean, if you think back, if you remember, about a year ago, they trotted him out on Raw,
Yeah,
and him and Cody stood in the ring for 45 minutes, 45 on a 3 hour show. Right? Do the math on how big of a percentage that is, right, of your show of two guys just standing in the ring, right? And then fast forward a little bit to Dwayne beating the living shit out of Cody back in the parking lot, right? Left him bloodied, right? But
yeah.
now they're sharing a little drink of vodka together,
I
all
couldn't
buddy buddy.
believe it. I couldn't
Like,
believe it because, and welcome,
where's the
Chris.
connection to that? Like, where's that connection? What
Well, I
happened?
was confused when he was saying something, and I don't know. I should have took some notes, but he said something like, "There's a man that I shared blood with all across this company, and I'd love to do it again." And I thought he was going to mention Triple H, but he mentioned Cody Rhodes, and then you see Cody Rhodes in the audience clapping, and I was just thinking,
Paul's not. You got to
sorry.
get that out of your head, man. Paul's not getting back.
Well, no, I know, but I mean, that's when he said who I shared blood with all across the country. I was thinking of Triple H. Not that they're going to do anything together. But anyway, so we got that very much. And welcome, Chris, as well. I'm excited to hear your thoughts. We're just at the start of the show. Um, we got that very much. This is the head of TKO. This is Dwayne Johnson. Hello, WWE Universe. I was really quite disappointed. It was great to see him. He got an incredible reaction. I really like when he was pointing to his arms, and you could see the goosebumps, brother. Like he was fired up. The promo, I was just as soon as he started talking, I was really hoping he was going to go somewhere with the whole, heel kind of character, final boss character. They totally didn't do that. And that kind of leads us into the first match where we're gonna talk about the whole Roman Reigns Solus Sikoa. So, do you have any final thoughts on The Rock Stampede, and then we'll see if Chris wants to talk about The Rock's beginning of the show.
Dwayne as a character, he was a great storyteller over the years, right? Like in ring, nothing overly special.
Right.
Like he got the job done, but I mean, he's not a top tier in ring wrestler. But he was a great storyteller, right? So he blended those two things really well throughout his career. But whatever he's been doing the last however long this little saga has been going on, I don't really have any interest in it.
Chris, do you want to bring up anything?
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't know if you agree, but I know there's a lot of people saying that online, and I agree with that opinion that last night the show felt very underwhelming and overhyped.
Wow.
I mean, they built this show so high, like a PLE, like a WrestleMania preview, and it did not deliver compared to the hype they were building.
Well, we're still only early talking about the very start of the show, but I'll just say I liked it. I actually, I mean, it wasn't.
It was not bad. I'm not saying but it was. I mean, it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be over the top. It was supposed to be great. It was supposed to be the way they were building it. It was supposed to be one of the greatest Raw of all time, and it was just good.
Well, do you have
When
any?
they said,
Go ahead.
yeah, when they said this is going to be a PLE level quality show, the first thing I thought of, and it was just the first thing that popped into my head. It's like, so we're going to get a lot of filler then,
Yeah,
on this, right? Because that's what they're PLEs. There's a lot of filler on them. Like generally, if you get a 50-50 split between the runtime and the ring time, you're doing well, right? On a WWE PLE. But that's exactly what they did last night. Right? A lot of filler. There's only 4 matches on a 3-hour show. Only one match really delivered to any extent, and that was pretty much a copy and paste match of Punk's match with Moxley. So, I don't know what they're doing.
It felt really PLE, and I mean, I have nothing to say about the wrestling quality. I think all the matches were good.
well, we're gonna
I
get to
thought,
that. We're gonna get to that because I want to go like
yeah, I know you want to talk
segment
about
by
The
segment.
Rock.
Yeah, I want
I
to
mean,
get your opinion. Me and Stampede were talking about it, and
I'm,
personally, Chris, I was disappointed that we were getting that very much WWE spokesman, Dwayne Johnson. It
we
wasn't the
all
final
were.
boss. It wasn't.
Look, The Rock was supposed to be there to set up WrestleMania, to set up, as I was told, and I was reported, is feud with Cody Rhodes,
Oh,
and
give it
and
up.
he was just like he was just there. Seems like he was just there to promote the show,
Yeah,
to boost up the ratings. He didn't set up anything, and he was completely out of character.
yeah.
He thanks Cody Rhodes.
I was really disappointed when Chris he said something, and I said this to Stampede, so I'm sorry for hearing this again, Stampede. But when he mentioned something like, me and this man shared blood all across America, and I'd love for us to do it again. And he mentioned Cody Rhodes. I thought he was going to mention Triple H.
Yeah, but look, as I always said, and I've been told that since like last year, like the plan was for him to face Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, but the way he was presented, I mean, first of all, I was like, okay, maybe he's not gonna face Cody, maybe he's gonna face Roman, maybe they have changed the plan. But the way The Rock was presented, it seems like he's not gonna. It seems like he's not gonna do WrestleMania at all.
Yeah, it was really disappointing. It was quite a disappointing entrance because as we're saying, like I thought it was going to build to something, but it almost seemed like a cast off to any of the heel stuff he was doing where he was involved.
I mean,
Just all of a
even
sudden they're friends now, and
even
that's
when he came
that.
back, even when he came back after the tribal combat, I mean, he
Oh, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that.
he
So
actually
let's
no, but he actually did he did was what Paul Heyman was supposed to do.
right.
Put on the Ulafala around Roman's neck and acknowledge him as the undisputed tribal chief. Now, I know that the original plan for WrestleMania, since the match was planned for WrestleMania, was for Solo to win. Now, I'm glad they changed the plan because Roman winning for me is the perfect right call. But the Rock didn't do anything. I mean, everybody thought he was gonna do like maybe turning on Roman or doing something.
No, wait, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So yeah, that leads us into that first match, which I was kind of surprised. And you remember, I called that to probably be the main event, but it wasn't.
And
So we got
the worst of all, we saw him sharing a drink backstage with Cody Rhodes. And the last time we saw The Rock on television, almost a year ago, the day after WrestleMania 40, he told Cody Rhodes, "When I came back, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. I'm coming for the title."
yeah, it was really
What the hell is
disappointing.
going on?
It was really disappointing. So let's move to the first match. Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. Um, I don't know. I thought it was just okay. I mean, I'm not a big Roman Reigns fan. It had that kind of big heavyweight feel to it. We got a lot of brawling. They did some stuff with the table.
No, it
Um,
was good. It was real tribal combat, no disqualification.
yeah, and we got
Uh,
the run-ins, and there were a lot of big pops. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn uh, came down, and I don't know. Stampede, do you have anything to say about that match if you got a chance to watch it, or and then we'll get Chris's take.
Just a generalized comment,
Yep.
but perhaps they could try having a Roman match that is a clean match
Yeah.
because it's been rinse and repeat
Oh yeah.
for I don't know how long now. It's like, oh, Roman match. So how many run-ins are we getting? How much interference are we getting? And how, like, just if you don't think he can run a match like that, then fine, right? But I've seen him in matches that have been quite good, so I know that he can. They just don't book his matches like that, and I don't know why. It just doesn't make any sense. It's not as if the guy can't wrestle; he can, right? You have a fairly basic move set, but he's very, very good at it.
Yeah.
Right. So, just
It
like that
felt
Cody
it
Roman match
felt like
back
a
at Mania,
very
right?
raw match though with the
Well,
interference.
it was like the Cody Roman match back at Mania, right? That match did not need everything else that was going on around it,
yeah,
Oh
but
yeah.
right? They just should have put those two in the ring and give. It's like, here, you got 35 minutes, go at it,
do
right?
not tell
If,
me you were shocked by seeing the two bloodlines getting involved. We all knew it was gonna happen. My
right, and
surprise,
that's part of the problem. We all know this is going to happen
yeah,
before it happens, right? Like it's a rinse and repeat formula they got. It's
yeah, but I mean
tiresome.
it's no disqualification, and this is a war between two factions, so it's kind of logical. I mean, uh, my big surprise was the involvement of Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. This
Yeah.
is the thing I didn't necessarily expect it. But the two bloodlines getting involved, I mean, of course. I mean, it's like NW Wolfpack versus NW Hollywood back in the day. It's the exact same thing. It's a civil war. So of course, with the no disqualification rules, in no way, shape, or form you were gonna get a one-on-one clean match. It's impossible. Now it's there was a lot of weird stuff during that show. I mean, um, l- like I said, to me it was good, but I mean, Raw is good every week, so it was nothing special. I mean, the only
Just
special
hold
thing,
on, Chris. I'm just gonna slow you down because we'll get to that, but I want to go like piece by piece of the show.
yeah,
Before we give our opinion. So at the end of this match, another thing that disappointed me was we got Johnson coming down. and him and Roman Reigns kind of did the handshake. And Chris, I would have bet my life that we were going to get that rock bottom. And I think that the fans would have just exploded. But we didn't get it. We didn't get it. You know, Rock just kind of shook his hand and stood off to the side. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Why was he even there to acknowledge Roman? Like Paul Heyman was supposed to do that. So I don't even understand.
Stampede, were you kind of disappointed that they didn't pull the trigger on, you know, Rock doing the rock bottom on Roman or anything like that? Like I could feel it. I was like, this is it, and we didn't get
No,
it.
I didn't expect it because I don't think they know what they're doing yet.
Yeah, and I mean,
No, honestly,
maybe Rock
that's not
himself
a
is kind of hot and
that's
cold.
not a and that's not a dig or anything.
No,
That's just right. Like with the way this is, Rock got to, Dwayne or whatever, got to figure out, okay, am I in doing this to Mania or am I not? And they don't seem to have that answer yet.
yeah, it seems like he's very hot and cold because, like, man, I thought some of that heel stuff he did was some of the best he's done, you know, in his career. So it was kind of sad to see him go back to just that figurehead-esque welcome to WWE character again.
What it's doing is it's hamstringing them from getting any concrete plans moving forward.
Yeah.
Right? If Dwayne signs off on it, it's like, okay, we got to pivot back to this thing. If Dwayne doesn't sign off on something, okay, we got to pivot over here then. Right? It's first week of January, Mania's not that far away.
Yeah.
They gotta get that shit together. Then
And
exactly.
I believe last night was a real indication that The Rock is not going to do WrestleMania because there was only two possible opponents for The Rock at WrestleMania: Cody Rhodes, who was the plan, and eventually Roman Reigns. Now, after what happened last night, I mean, they can't build up a Rock versus Roman match anymore or a Rock versus Cody match
I
anymore.
agree.
So
I agree.
The Rock is just not going to be there.
Yeah, it just seems like really weird. Maybe at the last minute, he's like, you know, I'm going to be hung up doing this film for the next year or two. Like, who knows?
And
Sorry.
I think it's a bad look as a member of
I
the
do
board
too.
of director to let the company down for the biggest show of the year. For me, it doesn't look good. And tonight, what is he going to do on NXT? I have no clue.
Yeah, exactly. That was pretty funny too. That at the end, he's like, "Yeah, NXT, I'll be there," and just kind of drives off. Like, it's
I can
awful.
tell you exactly. I can tell you exactly what it's going to do.
Cool.
He's going to eat up airtime and ring time that people will need to say nothing. That's exactly what he'll do.
Yeah, I'm really sad that for a little bit I was like, you know, I kind of like this version of Rock, and then they're right back to the style that had me rolling my eyes the past 15 years.
Like Blaine is showing up in NXT to pop a rating.
Yeah, pretty much.
Period.
Yeah,
Because he has no business with NXT. He's not involved with anybody there.
No. Like even him and the daughter don't have any kind of like on-screen connection, so I didn't get that.
No, nothing. And Ava is, I mean,
and
Ava is what she is. But
well, I tell you, I wouldn't want to walk past the father to take her out to dinner. I tell you that.
And after the way it was presented last night, I don't see anything different tonight. We didn't get the final boss last night. Yep. I don't see why we will get the final boss.
It kind of seemed like the end of that character to me.
He was yeah. I mean, he was completely out of character, babyface.
Yeah.
It was the people's champion, like in the back in the days, but.
Well, that's why I was so disappointed.
Very confused.
That's why I was so disappointed, Chris, when he didn't do like a rock bottom or anything. Because if he kind of like teased the crowd that, oh, he's just the normal Dwayne Johnson, and then he did turn on Roman, like that would have been really cool.
Yeah, that was of the biggest intriguing point of the show. What will The Rock do? Is he gonna call out Cody Rhodes? Is he gonna call out Roman Reigns? Is he gonna turn on Roman? Is he? What is he gonna do? Who is he gonna call?
and
Who is he gonna challenge? And we didn't get
and you know
absolutely nothing.
and you know something else, and I'm just looking at the card here.
Yeah, I
The
should
show
try
that
to
they
get
put
it.
on last night was 3 hours long, right? And I looked at the card; it was nothing special, right? Like Seth and Punk had potential, but beyond that, there wasn't a whole lot there to sink your teeth into. But like this was their debut episode on a major streaming platform that was going to have probably their largest audience, maybe ever, like, for a show. That's what they gave everyone. And I'm looking at the NXT show for tonight. This is a much better card that they got presented. The women are presented extremely well, right? And like every match on there has the potential to really deliver.
Yeah, I
Why
mean,
is Dwayne?
they it just seemed like
Why
they
is
thought they
Dwayne
were
like
going for one audience, while with NXT they're
this?
going for another, and I don't understand why they do
Like
it like
this?
that.
Like this card that I'm looking at here for a 2 hour show is going to deliver, and it does not need Dwayne Johnson on it.
But it's also because we know what we are gonna get tonight. We know this is an NXT kind of PLE show, like NXT loves to do
You're going to
very
get
often.
probably for the runtime, you're probably going to get very close to, if not maybe a little bit more than a 50-50 split, like from in ring and like everything else that goes on, your entrances and your segments and promos.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
You're still probably going to get a 50-50 split out
I
of it.
agree,
Right?
and I mean, I'm really looking forward to especially the triple threat for the NXT title. I'm just curious to see if Obafemi gonna win the title, or if Trick Williams gonna retain. Eddie Thorpe is probably
But
there just to take the pin, and Julia,
most likely,
yeah,
yeah.
and Julia finally winning the NXT Women's title from Roxanne. That's gonna be a big moment.
So
The
next,
thing
oh
I
sorry.
noticed, yeah, just another little
Yep.
tidbit
Go
on
ahead.
NXT. Sean, especially, because I want to give Sean his props here. Sean seems to have figured out how to do this much better than Paul,
Yeah.
right? Because what I've noticed with Sean is, right, he presents the women in a much better light. Like he knows who to put in there in the shorter matches because they're still learning. Your 4 minute matches, don't overexpose them to what they can't do yet, but get them the time they need. Right? He's good at that, and like I said, and overall, he presents the women well, and he's figured out how to blend in the storylines that he's doing with still getting people in the ring. Like they're always very close to that, 50-50 split, right? Like he's figured that out. Like so he does it in a fashion similar to what Tony does, right? You're going to get about half the show in the ring, but I'm going to blend in all the other storylines that are going on throughout. Right? It's a very similar format in that sense. So
I agree.
props to Sean.
I agree on that.
He's doing a really good job down there. I don't know if he gets the credit that he deserves, but he
No, I
should.
agree, and I'm a Triple H guy, but I agree that Shawn Michaels, the way he's booking the women's division on NXT is absolutely fantastic, and he's doing a lot of storyline without having a title involved, which is something that Triple H is sometimes struggling to do. Like, look, we have fatal influence with against Shotzi, Tatum, and Gigi Dolin. This is a
Yeah,
storyline without a title involved. Uh,
yeah. Well, that's what
uh,
I was looking at. I'm looking at all these matches, and they're all intriguing in their own way. Like they're all distinct from one another, but
even
they
like
they all make sense. They all
even
make sense
story.
within the context of the stories that have been being told. It's like, okay,
However,
I get why this match is happening, and I know why
however,
this
yeah.
happened, right?
However, what you can say in reverse, and this is actually what I find funny, is that you can make the argument that Shawn Michaels is booking the women's better on NXT than Triple H on the main roster, but you can
Well,
also make the
well,
argument,
that's not an argument. That's
yeah,
a plain fact, man.
yeah, but
That's
you
you know the only way you don't see that is
Yeah.
if you're so far up Paul's ass that you're just gonna, bend over and say everything he does is good.
But you can
That's the
also
only
make
way
the
you don't
but,
see
but you can
that.
also make the argument that Triple H is booking the men's division better than Shawn Michaels did on NXT, because NXT at the moment, NXT is carry on by the women's division. The men's
It
division
is,
is
yeah.
kind of weak.
It is, yeah. So Sean's playing to his strengths.
All right, fans, we're going to go to the next big moment on the show that we had. That was some great insight on NXT, so I might check that out tonight. John Cena comes down to the ring. Fans are hot. Uh, Man, when I seen him running down that ring, sliding in that ring, I was like, we're back in 2011, 2012 again. He cut a promo, did a couple jokes, but the big takeaway that we'll get your guys' opinion on is, I guess, Cena will be in the Royal Rumble. Uh,
Yeah.
Pretty cool surprise. What do you guys think of that?
Yeah, he made me sad when he showed the T-shirts. Uh, the last time is now. I was like, why are you showing us that, John? We already know this is the last time. Don't pull don't pull the knife into me deeper. Please. But
Um,
yeah, it's actually it's not a surprise because
He got a
it
good
was already
reaction.
yeah, but it was already reported that John Cena was advertised for the Royal Rumble. So I don't think anybody was really surprised when he announced that he will enter the Royal Rumble. Now I know there's a lot of people expecting him to win. Personally, I don't believe he's gonna win. I think his participation in the Royal Rumble is gonna set up his WrestleMania
Yeah,
opponent.
I absolutely think you're going to have like a younger talent, probably eliminate him. I'd say that's my say. I mean, he'll probably have a good showing in there, but I think like a younger dude will probably eliminate him.
I,
Unless
I,
they because
I,
now he's in the conversation for a title match at WrestleMania. But I mean, we would you be okay with John Cena winning the Royal Rumble for his last Rumble? Right.
Go ahead,
I,
Stampede.
my, my take on this, especially after what I seen out of Dwayne last night,
Yeah,
is that Cena is going to win this Rumble.
you really think
And
that?
yeah, and
Oh
I think he's
man,
going to go on, and I think he's going to go on to face Cody. I don't think I don't think he wins over Cody, and I don't think he should win over Cody. That would that would not help Cody in any way if that happens.
no,
Cody would have to go over
No,
in that
no,
match.
no.
That would be a huge rub for him to do that.
But
Right?
if he
But
wins
I
the Royal Rumble, I'm kind of thinking that he might be choosing Gunther if Gunther is still the world heavyweight champion by
uh,
then,
Gun,
and I believe he will be.
Gunther's going to be earmarked for fucking William Goldberg, guaranteed.
William.
No, because Bill is coming back in the next few weeks, and he's having a match at Mania, and it's his retirement match.
Yeah,
It-
I, I,
right.
I,
So
I just do
so
not
Goldberg
see.
Gunther is what you're getting. So
I do not see a WrestleMania, and again, everything is possible now with Triple H. But I do not see a WrestleMania with the two challengers for the main titles being Goldberg and John Cena.
yeah.
I don't see that
wouldn't
happening.
shock me
But
in the least.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Well, who's young enough on the main roster that they've
yeah,
built
yeah,
up and
exactly.
put in those
I'm
spots?
exactly right.
Nobody.
But the fact
Braun
is,
Breaker, but Braun already got a title, so it won't be him.
I, I,
Carmelo Hayes has been bouncing around with Braun Strowman, so it ain't
but
him.
but here's the
You know,
thing.
so
They
who is it?
they put on WrestleMania matches on last night's show to make it feel like bigger than life. And now I
Well,
think we
Seth and
could
Roman got, or not Seth and Roman, Seth and
I
Punk
think
got bumped for Mania to go on last night,
I think we can say
and
it's a bit
and
disappointing.
thankfully Rhea and Liv got bumped to last night because that storyline had to end. That was
Yeah, Rhea,
way too
but Rhea and Liv, it's okay because I still believe we're gonna get the triple threat at WrestleMania with Becky. But as far as Roman and Solo, uh, obviously this is over. Rollins and Punk, I don't believe it's over, but is it gonna be dragged out until WrestleMania? I don't know. But the fact is, they have put on WrestleMania matches planned for WrestleMania. They moved it to the Raw Netflix debut, and now they will have to rewrite the Mania card. And good luck with that.
Well, that's actually the next match is the Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan match. I didn't have too much to say about it other than a few things, but I think the match was actually pretty good. I think they made up for that last match that they had. It was fairly standard, but I thought it was pretty good. What do you guys think?
Well, Liv and Rhea, despite being friends on life and having faced each other very, very several times, they unfortunately doesn't have the best connection in the ring together. But I think the match was decent.
Yeah.
The result, I believe, it's the bad call. Um for me, I said it and I said it again. Liv Morgan, for all the great work she has done in 2024, she is the only woman deserving of heading to WrestleMania with that woman's world title.
Yeah, I really thought last night she really was a great wrestler. It's cool how she's kind of like a smaller, more normal type girl, but she can still really hang in there with like the hard hitting style. I was like, I'm kind of getting behind this. While
She's the
Rhea's
woman.
just kind of the look and the heavyweight kind of
Yeah,
devastating character. I was like, at least Liv is something a little different.
I mean, she's the women's wrestler of the year.
Yeah,
Bottom
I
line,
really
bottom
enjoyed
line.
her work last night. Um,
Who, Liv?
yeah,
Liv was not Women's Wrestler of the Year, man.
Yeah, she is.
No, she wasn't.
There's no other woman. There's no other woman
There's
that have a
Chris,
better
is
2024
that your
than Liv
opinion,
Chris,
Morgan.
Chris?
There is
Chris.
not there is not a woman in pro
There is
wrestling
Chris.
this year
There is
who
Chris. It
had a
depends
better
on how Chris.
2024 than
Chris.
Liv Morgan.
Right. Okay. It depends on how big your scope is of wrestling. Right. I watch a whole hell of a lot more promotions than you do, and I'm telling you right now,
Yeah, bingo
there are
host
women
doesn't
out.
count.
There are women out there. Let me finish talking, Chris. You have a bad habit of interrupting. If the more you watch and the bigger your scope is, right, there are women out there who have done a whole hell of a lot more than what Liv Morgan did in 2020. That's just a fact. Go look it up, right?
But Liv Morgan is playing in
But
the Premier
Liv,
League. The others are
right?
not.
But for in WWE, yeah, personally in WWE, my women's wrestler of the year was Roxanne. I just think she did a really good job throughout. Her character developed a lot better. She's going into that heel role.
She's the
Matches
NXT Women's
delivered.
Wrestler of the Year.
Right, like she's had a really, really good, solid run there. I know it's NXT; it gets kind of looked over in that, but my runner-up was Io.
Yeah, she's the
Um,
NXT Women's Wrestler of the Year by far. By
yeah.
far.
So we got the
Uh,
big victory by Rhea. Um, like Chris mentioned, I don't know if it was the right call, but it got a big reaction. They did the whole thing with Dominic, but here's what I really want to get into.
Oh, that was cool actually.
The lights went out and Mark Undertaker Calloway came down. Any
Yes.
thoughts on that?
I
so
hate
what's
to
his?
say this. I hate to say this because I love the Undertaker, but this was a waste of TV time. I
Yeah,
cannot I
like what
cannot
is?
believe that they have actually pushed back Becky Lynch's return for this. I don't understand.
Yeah, like what is Mark's connection to Ray Ripley?
Yeah, I know. I was
Uh,
thinking that too. The only thing I was thinking is maybe if it was 30 years ago, he would have had her on the back of the bike. But
yeah. Like
It was
besides
another thing to it
besides
was
no
another thing to
connection
boost.
whatsoever.
Yeah,
Like,
it was just
yeah,
another
like
thing to boost the ratings.
like they have no connection to each other.
no,
None.
Ah,
I
Zero.
and
mean
it's
that you could
very
Yeah,
bad.
argue
like,
maybe
why?
their look is kind of
Yeah.
similar, so maybe that's the reason. But yeah, I
Well,
didn't really get
they
that
do.
either. And it
No.
was
Well, they do that there. You look like this person, so we're going to put you and you together.
yeah.
That's a
I don't think
staple.
they're really putting them together as much as him just kind of giving her the
No,
rub. Like it was almost like a
just the visual.
congratulations from WE to get that.
Just the visual.
It was
It's the
just
visual.
like bringing out a legend and let's boost the rating, and that's all.
But just to touch on Rhea and Liv for
Sure.
just
Yeah.
another moment here. When Rhea had the title before, she held it for a while. She didn't do a whole hell of a lot with it. Right? She carried it around a lot, did a lot of promos, but it was kind of more of a prop than something that was defended on the regular.
Right.
Right? They fell into that same trap with Liv. She carried it around for 200 and some odd days, but didn't do a whole hell of a lot with it. Like as far as and a lot of her in ring didn't deliver. You know,
But
sorry, not sorry.
the big
Didn't.
difference is
So I hope.
gonna
So
be.
just will you let me finish, by right? So I hope now that they have it back on Rhea, they do a course correction on that because Rhea is one of the better women's wrestlers they have on that roster. She can go and she can do a lot of different style of matches, right? So I hope they focus more on that on this go around than they did the last go around
Yeah,
because it will serve the product better and it will serve the rest of the women's roster better. Because
and
if you get in with a woman like Rhea, right, you're going to get exposure. People are going to watch because Rhea's in the match with you, and you're gaining that experience from getting in there with someone like Rhea. There's a
I
lot
think
of
it's gonna be
pluses
the
to
same.
putting
Yeah,
her in the ring, so they
yeah.
should do that on this one with it.
I agree, and I think it's going to be the case because now, and that's the point I was about to make. The big difference is now Rhea is a babyface champion. Before she was a heel
Yeah.
champion.
Yeah.
Heel champions are not fighting champions. They are not. They are heels. They are there to
Well,
avoid defending their titles. When you are a
yeah,
babyface, you are more of a fighting champion.
the
That's
last go around when they were doing the build up to Charlotte and Rhea, they had the roles backwards because everybody was wanting to chair Rhea, but they were running her as the heel, and they were for some reason trying to run Charlotte Flair as a face. That has never worked.
absolutely right. But Rhea was the heel on paper, even though they were cheering for her.
Yeah.
Rhea was the heel on the story.
Well, they just didn't
And
realize it yet. What they had on their
Charlotte,
hands.
Hmm.
no, and Charlotte is just kind of naturally dislikable, I guess. You know, some of that's just the way that her character is portrayed, but all the other part of it is that she has not been in a program that has not involved a title probably since I was a teenager back in the '80s. Like
Naturally
do
dislikable.
do something else with her that doesn't involve a title. That
Right.
would be refreshing, right? They're not
But
going to do that, but
yeah,
you know,
Charlotte Flair said it herself on an interview that she was better and most comfortable playing a heel. She's so
well, it was
much
like her
better as a
dad.
heel.
Yeah, like I remember her dad back in the '80s. They tried to do the odd time they would okay, let's do a face run with Rick. It never really hit because it just felt forced. Right? Say, okay, like we know what you are, Mr. Flair, and a face is not it, right?
But
No,
yeah,
it's the same premise, right?
I think they are going to try now because from what I've heard, the plan for WrestleMania is Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair, and Tiffany Stratton is now transitioning as a babyface. So Charlotte automatically, if that's the plan, she's gonna have to be the heel on that story automatically.
Hopefully, they transition Tiffany into some sort of character because she has none at the moment.
Well,
Tiffy Time is not a character.
yeah,
Get that.
it's the character of a kind of annoying girl, funny.
Well,
Uh,
she's annoying. I'll give her that. Like to the
yeah,
point that regardless of how talented she is and how much upside she has, she's annoying to the point that I don't want to have any interest in watching her
no, but
because she has to speak at some point,
it
right?
was
And that turns.
interesting. She was talking about that on an interview about a babyface transition, and she was
Yeah.
saying like, I don't really know what will be the difference for me as a babyface, except be nicer on screen with the other wrestlers. But she seems to she was seemingly a bit confused still on. She was kind of like, when I'm gonna be a
Yeah.
babyface, what should I
Well,
do? So I
well, the
hope I
character, the
I hope
character
they are gonna
development.
back her up. I hope they're
Well,
gonna
the
back her
character
up.
development right now is that shallow with her that if it was a pool, I could fucking walk in it and not get my feet wet. Right? Like, do something with her character, man. Like, she's got an immense amount of talent. Like she has the potential to go in there, right, and put on, and I don't know if you guys don't like this woman or for whatever reason. If
Okay.
not, whatever. But
It's gonna
like
be tough,
she has the in-ring talent and the potential to be doing the things that Mercedes is doing now,
but
going
it's
in the
gonna be
ring
tough.
with
It's gonna be tough.
many different styles of women wrestlers and still being able to put on top tier matches. Tiffany has that type of potential. Right now, whether or not they do that with her, I don't know.
Nah,
Got to get a
it's
character
crazy.
to go along with it is the thing. Which right
And
now they haven't.
apparently she had zero experience in wrestling before coming to NXT. I mean, most of the wrestler they started on the indies or stuff like that. Apparently, Tiffany, when she started on NXT in 2021, she was like when Jade Cargill started in AEW. She was all green, and look where she is now in just 3 years of time. It's absolutely phenomenal, and she's only 25.
Yeah, she's never wrestled. Yeah, she started in 2021. She's never wrestled anywhere but WWE.
And she was always
So
a
what you
heel.
might So what you might, and I hope they don't do this, but just another example would be Bianca, right? Like Bianca is a WWE product, right, from the beginning. Bianca has run the exact same character, whatever that is, on the main roster since she got there. She has yet to do anything different with it.
Yeah.
She trots down to the ring, she skips down, she twirls the
She
hair,
is the EST.
dance in the ring. It's just over and over and over again. It's never evolving. Right?
Yeah,
Great in
yeah.
the ring, like a great in ring talent. You can get in there and do the job at a high level, but you know do something different.
I'm
I
curious to
just hope they don't
see.
follow that same path with Tiffany. Like work with her and develop her, and give her lots of layers to get invested in.
I'm
Be the
curious to
builder.
see how they are going to build Tiffany as a babyface, because she was never a babyface, and that's the most intriguing point. She was always a heel on NXT. She was a heel on the main roster since she came up, and that's why even she doesn't know what her babyface character is going to look like. Uh,
Well,
it's going to
baby
have to
faces
be.
are harder to pull off, right?
Mm,
Because it's harder to get invested in them. Heels are easier. Like that worked with Braun Breaker, right? Like they were trying to run him down as a face in NXT, right?
he
They were
was
trotting him
boring.
out there in the same
Yeah.
kind of tights that Rick and Scott would wear, and
And he
right?
was boring.
Well, no, that's what they were doing, right? Let's just copy and paste what went on, in the late '80s with Rick and Scott,
Yeah,
right?
true,
It
true.
wasn't working, and it wasn't hitting. His promos were wooden,
Yeah.
like it just right. It was off. It just wasn't working. They flipped him heel, and then he started to grow into okay, I'm getting it, right? And that's when he took off. So a face is much harder to do. Jack Perry would be another example, right?
Yeah,
Jack
I
was running
believe.
the face character, and it was fun, but it wasn't that interesting, right? And then they tried the heel gimmick, the first part of AEW before he got sent to New Japan. That wasn't really working, and it wasn't going to. But he went full heel over in New Japan with the scapegoat thing. It's like, okay, that works, right? And he's been off and running since.
There is
So,
one person. There is one person on the SmackDown Women's roster that could really be helpful to Tiffany to how transitionate to a babyface. It's Bailey, because Bailey is a locker room leader and she knows exactly how to reinvent a character. Look, she's a now she since last year WrestleMania she's a babyface, but she's not the same babyface that she was at her debut as the Hugger.
Right.
She's another
oh
kind
God,
of babyface.
no, those whatever they were that she had the blow up thing. Yeah, like don't ever bring that back. That was bad.
Well, anyway,
I was a fan of it.
I'm gonna move on to the next segment. We did have a couple little promos in between this. Just a couple things to note was, I guess Chad Gable wants a luchador, and this
Penta is
dude
coming.
says, you know, I'm gonna make a phone call. And I guess that's alluding to Pentagram. We had Mike. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Penta.
Yeah. Oh, Penta.
Just Penta. No, he's not a pentagram. It's not a shape.
Sorry. And then we had
Pentagon.
Mike Mizanin doing a great promo talking about John Cena. And to be honest, that would be, you know, just for a one-off Monday Night Raw. I'd love to see that throwback.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty cool. But then we get into what I would consider probably the worst match of the show, in my opinion anyway, was Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre. But one thing I want to say is that Jey Uso entrance that they did was incredible. Like, absolutely incredible. What surprised me is they had this rapper dude come out smoking weed.
Well, it's a good thing Jay got the entrance.
Yeah. But
Because
that's
he
what I
doesn't have to
always
fucking
feel
do anything.
about. That's what I always feel about Jey Uso. Like, you actually do get pretty. I mean, I hated the Uso brother. I just was so tired of it. But
Jay Uso as a singles guy, right, is an entrance and a catchphrase.
yeah,
Because it stops there.
it
Right?
always
once he gets
seems like that. Like, he does get the audience hyped up. It's cool. And then when the bell rings, like, you know, I'd give
Yeah,
him
but it's
like a
fucking
3 out of
over.
10.
It ends there because he's about as miscast as a singles wrestler as you can possibly be.
Yeah.
Right? He's not a singles guy. Like I don't. They keep forcing it, but he's not. Right? Like his matches don't deliver. They're slow. But the majority of his strikes and his kicks, they visibly don't connect.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
I was
If
noticing that
they're-
it was like I said, I mean, in my opinion, I thought this was probably the worst match on the show.
like we were watching Wrestle Kingdom, Wrestle Dynasty over the weekend. We were doing some watch-alongs with it. And Jay came up. It's like, can you imagine Jay over here? Like, when these people actually fucking hit him? He'd be like, whoa, what's going on? Like, you just hit me. It's like, yeah, that's what we're doing.
Well, this match actually felt. Stampede was talking about filler. This match actually really felt like a filler. But Jey Uso's entrance for me was one of the highlight of the night.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was absolutely fantastic. I was actually eating on my couch.
It was really cool. Like, it was just that energy, and I love when guys are walking through the crowd, and it was awesome. And even Michael Cole
Great.
was getting up on the table, and
It's so great. This is literally the best entrance in WWE today. There's no, to me, there's not any WWE entrance at the moment that can touch that.
yeah, it's just too bad that that's all that he
it's
has.
because and it's
Yeah, but
because of the
that's-
fans. It's because of the fans.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, are you tuning into a 3-hour show to watch, entrances and a crowd chant a catchphrase? I'm not. Like,
Yeah, but
that's not holding.
that
That's not
almost
holding
seemed
me.
like what they were going for last
it's
night.
also
That's not,
it's also
but
part of the
as a
entertainment.
wrestling fan, like that's not holding my attention.
It's also part of the entertainment.
Yeah, see, I agree.
Right.
And this is my issue.
And this is
Wait, hold
and
on,
this
Chris.
is
Hold
sports
on.
entertainment.
Just a second.
Yes.
Because this was the issue I was talking about when I started the space was I really started to feel like the entrances, and that is a cool entrance, but the entrances are starting to feel like too elaborate and like too long, and like, you know, it's so much different than the music hits and a guy walks down and he's kind of looking to the crowd. Like, these entrances are just so like performance art, like, that it kind of takes me out of it a little bit.
Well, I'll do a little comparison here.
Sure.
Right. As far as entrances go, there's a gentleman has a really good entrance, comes down, Crowd is into it, man. The crowds are screaming. He's going back and forth between the ropes. He's throwing his hands out to the crowd, and they're chanting his name each and every time. Right? Amazing entrance, great theme song that he has. Right? And I like that. But I also know after the end of that entrance and after the guy takes his coat off to actually have a match, I know it's going to deliver each and
Right.
every time. Jay doesn't have that.
But who are you
Jay
talking
has
about?
Jay has the entrance and Jay has the catchphrase nailed down, 100%. Right, but the third element of what is supposed to be going on, he doesn't.
Yeah, it's like I think WE would be the only place you would get away with that.
It is. Yeah, he would get eaten alive anywhere else.
But hey, we
Like
didn't
I
mention
don't.
he got the win. He got the
But
win.
funny you should say that,
Yeah.
Alex, because there is something that I would like to see out of Jay and his brother before all is said and done. They have the elements right there right now to do it, if they so choose. Right? Put Jay back with Jimmy, do the Usos, right? Because there's a matchup that is there, ready and waiting to go,
Yeah,
that certain people have been wanting to see now for probably
I
close
see
to a
where you're
decade.
going. I see where
I
you're
think
going.
Chris knows where I'm going with this,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely, absolutely.
The
Let's hear
Brother,
it.
Usos,
brothers versus brothers. Absolutely. Yeah, and
no, no, no,
actually,
no, 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 no,
I've
Chris,
heard.
Chris, hold on.
I,
Let him finish,
I,
finish.
I
Chris.
no, I've
Right,
actually
but are
heard
you
that
going to
it's
let
a
me finish,
possibility
Chris?
we
Because
have the
you
Tonga
just keep
brothers.
interrupting me, Chris. So I'm just going to keep talking over you. How's that?
Just let him finish, Chris. We'll get
Yeah,
back to
but
you.
Right, but
you
you just
mentioned
keep
my
talking over
name.
me, Chris. So I'm going to keep talking over you. How's that? Do you find that enjoyable?
You mentioned my
Just
name,
let me
so
finish my thought, Chris. Just let me finish my thought.
yeah.
Okay. So the Usos put them in a tag team together again and point them at the Gorillas of Destiny. You have them on your roster now.
That's exactly what I was saying. The Tonga
Right. Then
brothers.
why didn't you let me finish what I was saying? Like you do this all
He's
the
a
time in every
passionate fan.
No,
I don't
he
fucking
said
care how
Chris
passionate
nowhere.
he is. He interrupts people all the
He,
time.
yeah, no,
Fucking
he
man.
said Chris know where I'm going. So yeah, I do know, and I prove it to you. That's it.
But yeah, I think that would be cool. And I think one thing too is like if you finally got to the point, Jay as a singles just isn't working, but we got this character, we have this entrance. I mean, have the Uso brothers do it.
I
Yeah.
advocate.
Oh, it's gonna happen down the line.
Like they could do the exact same entrance for a tag match, and it would probably be like 5 times better than anything he would do on his own. So I could see them going in that direction, just them turning Jay's entrance into the Uso brothers' entrance if they do ever get back together.
And it's gonna be good for Jimmy because Jimmy as a single star, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, I think both of them are really floundering. I think WE really did their diligence by giving it a try, but Jimmy has nothing.
No,
Jay, I think,
Jay's
has
over.
some, but just not enough.
But at least Jay is over, and he's really over. I mean, he's really have a strong connection with the fans, so that's very helpful to his character. But Jimmy doesn't have that. People like Jimmy, but they like Jimmy, but they love Jay. That's the difference.
So then we're going to get into a little bit of controversy. And I know Stampede was hot about this, so we don't need to spend too much time on it, but it needs to be talked about on the Pro Wrestling Line. The music hit, and Hulk Hogan came down to the stage.
The saddest part of the night.
Yeah, it was incredibly challenging, and I remember seeing that post that WE made, which is really confusing about we're going to bring in whoever if they have a controversial history or not. But I find it's really dividing the audience. Like, I think there's a segment of people that just look at Hulk Hogan as the wrestling history, but then there's the people who look at it from the very real, like, troubling things that he said. And WE got that back in their face when the fans were booing Terry.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if this is because of his political opinions, or is this because of this whole controversy about the racism that he had in the past, which he apologized for, by the way. Uh, I don't
He
know.
didn't.
We don't know, but
He
it
didn't.
was.
He didn't apologize for that.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
Gentlemen,
He said,
gentlemen, I have another theory.
Careful, careful with audio on your phone, kids. That's not an apology.
Yeah, basically he just came into WE and gave this speech to the locker room that you never know when there's a cell phone around. So I was joking about that other day, and I want to welcome this other guy, Richard Blauser. Thanks for
Yeah,
joining us. But yeah, we don't need to talk too much about the Hogan thing, but it was kind of disappointing. I mean, it was basically just
can I bring up another theory for Hogan?
yeah, sure.
And this is just me. Because his beer was on the ring, I apologize for my voice.
That's
If
fine.
if his beer was on the ring mat and he told somebody, hey, if my beer is going to be on the ring mat, I want time, brother. If I give you my product, I want time.
That'd be funny.
I mean,
Some
knowing Hogan, it probably is very, very possible that he said, you want my product? I want time tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't really seem like it was really that necessary. Like they could have done the same thing in like a commercial or something. I think WE didn't expect the booze, but it kind of blows my mind that they didn't. So I don't really know what they were thinking about that.
No, actually, I didn't really expected Hogan coming on the stage. I thought he was gonna do a vignette or
Yeah.
something like that. You know, because on the rundown, on the rundown on the lineup, it was said Hogan interview. So I thought he was gonna do an interview, but it was a promo, and with Jimmy Hart beside him. It was really sad for Jimmy Hart as well. I mean, poor
81
guy.
years old.
He didn't do anything to deserve that. I mean, he was just there because he has a lot of past history with Hogan.
Yeah.
Uh, it was really sad. It was really sad and awkward. I mean, okay, Hogan. I don't necessarily like the guy, the person. I don't necessarily agree with his political opinions, but I mean, it's still Hulk Hogan. I mean, it's still the guy who made sports entertainment what it is today.
Yeah, I get
Whether you
that. And
like him
see,
or not.
that's kind of the way I look at it because I try to look at it just for the wrestling history, but you're just going to divide the audience doing that. You can't convince people who were offended by the stuff he's done to be like, oh, well, we'll just forget about that because he won a WWE championship. Like that's where I was really confused that it seems like in the Vince era, they had things so tightly locked with these kind of controversial figures. And in the Triple H era, it seems like they're more risking like, oh well, we don't really care. Let's just see what the reaction is and kind of go from there. So I just think it wasn't a good look. Go ahead, Stampede.
Well, for a company slash promotion slash people running said promotion that have had accusations hurled at them of racist behavior, which they have, everybody is aware of that, to knowingly and willingly invite one of the most famous races in America right now, in Hulk Hogan, onto your show and then partner up with him for his beer is certainly an interesting choice, right? To combat those allegations that have been consistently thrown at you.
Well, I just
So
want to take a quick second.
they are so maybe they are what they are.
Well, I don't want to get too deep onto this side of things, but I have talked with some other people who kind of think that it's the whole. And again, I'm not United States, so I can't take a side, but that it is kind of WE is a very like right wing leaning company. We've seen Triple H and Stephanie at that Trump party. We know Donald Trump has had some history in WE. And I mean, now with Hogan kind of in that sort of foray, it kind of seemed like it was more that connection that they had, which is having a lot of people upset because they don't want to see WE go that direction. I want,
Ooh, Advocate has his hand.
yeah,
up.
I want to welcome this new guy. I don't think we've talked before. The advocate of Enochism. You got your hand up. You're on the line. What do you got for us?
Oh yeah, me and Stampede. I saw Stampede in here, and he's one of my favorite people to be in spaces with. So I was like, oh, let me jump in here.
Cool.
But I just wanted to say on the Hogan and Jimmy Hart thing,
Yeah.
like one thing I'm a big proponent of, and this is any company, is that you as an audience are under no obligation to play along.
Right.
I don't like the sentiment. Like if you want to boo, you paid a ticket, and the people who went to that show paid a lot of money for them tickets. If you want to boo, boo what you want. You know what I mean? It's the show's job to convey a story or to do whatever. Like if they failed in that, then you're allowed to boo that. You know what I mean? It's like Jimmy Hart there is like, oh, like you got a payday to get booed, so I don't feel that bad for you either.
Right. And you got to remember,
Guy's been getting
California
paydays
is
for
a very
doing
liberal
nothing for
state
like
as well.
decades.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
California is a pretty left-leaning state, so that could have been part of it too.
But I don't think that was it because the Undertaker was there. He had Trump on his podcast and
yeah.
everything, and he didn't get
Yeah.
booed. Triple
True.
H didn't get booed. Like Hogan got booed. I think it's the racism
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I think
It was an
I live
interesting
in Los
5 minutes
Angeles, and the
of
one,
wrestling history.
yeah.
But
But
go ahead. Sorry.
the thing is I live in Los Angeles, or like Los Angeles adjacent. I live in the
Cool.
burbs, but the thing is that like it's a very big place, and it's like more politically diverse, I think, than people like think that it is. Like so I don't think that it was necessarily just a political thing. You know what I mean? Like because then they would have booed Undertaker.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
would have booed all of them.
Good insight. What I find interesting is, man, I would have loved to be a fly on the wall, when he walked back and what the reaction would have been. But it is interesting because after this, we seen like the Saturday night main event sort of build up package where Hogan was on. So it seems like obviously he's not going to be like a wrestler, but it does seem like he's going to be someone they're going to like pull, like, hey, can you do this little promo on a hype pack? Like he's definitely seemingly going to be part of WWE again. But
Yeah, I
will
mean,
that
I don't
change
know why
because
they
of the
would want that.
reaction?
You know what I mean? I
Sorry.
just don't see what, like, I mean, other than he gave you money for his beer, I guess, so you have to put him on the show.
Right.
But
Well, he's got that younger wife now.
you got to keep working, I guess.
Yeah.
Well,
So
at Hogan's age, everybody's younger than him.
Yeah, but yeah, that was a very funny part of the show overall.
yeah,
to
it was really sad. And as someone who can get behind legends like for the wrestling alone, I was even kind of like, this is kind of sad and it's disturbing. And
Did
I
y'all
feel
talk
bad
about the
for the
Gunther
people
video
I
package
know
yet?
who don't want to see him on there.
Did y'all talk about the Gunther video package yet?
No, we didn't. We can pick up from there if you want, because we're just about at
I was
that
just gonna
point.
say that was my favorite thing on the show. I thought that package was fantastic.
Yeah, it really made him seem like a big heavyweight level star.
Mm-hmm.
It
Made
was
him feel
pretty
like a
cool
big
how he
deal.
was like slamming the punching bag on the ground. Like I was like, man, that's insane. The workouts he was doing, like that was just a straight up like wrestling
And just the
showcase.
confidence of
It
it,
was
where
cool.
he was like, I'm the light at the end of the tunnel, like I'm where your dreams go to die. I was like, he didn't deliver it like, like a lot of wrestlers would, like trying to be like menacing and stuff. He just delivered it with this like calm confidence.
Yeah, I'm glad they went with.
That's what I like about him as a wrestler. It's a less is more presentation.
I'm glad that they went with something like that instead of him just with a microphone in front of him doing that. It was really cool.
I agree.
I liked that. I'd like to see more stuff like that. So we have a couple new people. So if there is anything that we already talked about, you want to mention, we can, because we're getting close to the end of the show. I think what we had after the Hogan was the Seth Punk match, was it? Or did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. And as Stampede said, there wasn't exactly a lot of wrestling on this show. So,
Oh yeah, that was a big detractor from it, from my overall score of the evening.
well, I will ask you as something I've said a couple times, so I do apologize for who heard this, but I felt like the presentation was good, but I felt like it really feels like they're trying to make like the entrances and like the presentation of the wrestlers like basically equal to match time now.
Yeah, no, I get that. Like they really, because that's where they shine. Like they shine in making things feel bigger. Like that was like, like I didn't know who the rapper guy was, but like you could see like the fans like reacting big in that Jay Uso part.
Yeah,
And it was like, oh, like it's like, oh, like they made this feel like a big fight entry. You know what I mean? Because he's coming out through the
it was
crowd. It's
awesome.
almost like
Yeah.
a UFC fight or something. He's got like a rapper with him. Like it gave it that really like big fight feel.
And he was smoking weed on the
Yeah.
WWE
Oh, that was
program.
awesome. That was another thing I really thought was cool. I was like, what? Guys just smoking a blunt on
Yeah, like I'm
TV?
not exactly sure who he is. I couldn't tell you any of his songs, but
Yeah, me
I
either.
know he's one of the big rappers right now. And actually, I also know, I guess there was a little bit of controversy because he uses the nickname Cactus Jack, and Foley came forward and said he was fine with it. So I mean, there's
Yeah.
that
If
connection, I
if
guess.
if Mick Foley is fine with it, that's his moniker. Like I'm pretty sure he owns the Cactus Jack
Right.
license. So like that. Who's anybody else to complain?
So they also did announce a couple things for next week, which I thought was like okay for a follow up. It's like I was saying before, it's going to be interesting where we are like a month from now on these Netflix shows. But next week looks pretty cool. We're getting a street fight with Damian Priest and Finn Balor, which will probably be pretty good. I mean, I'm kind of tired of Finn Balor, but I mean, street fight might be kind of cool. Before we go to the main event, is there anything you guys want to say on what we might be seeing next week?
Oh, I'm excited for Penta versus Chad Gable. I'm like that match is going to probably be really good.
Yeah. Anybody else before we go to Punk and Rollins?
Well, for me, it's the final of the tournament for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. I really can't decide myself between Dakota and Lyra, but I think I will go with Lyra Valkyria because, unfortunately, for Dakota Kai, she's very injury prone, and I don't think that they are trusting her so much for carrying a championship at the moment. So I will go with Lyra Valkyria for the win.
Stampede, you got the hand up. What do you got?
Yeah, I would pick Lyra for that as well. I think, especially with Becky coming back, I think they'll pick up whatever it was they were doing there before, so that would make sense. Just a couple of other things on the women's
Go ahead.
neck of the woods. There was just two matches announced. One in AEW. They're doing a women's gauntlet match. The winner of that gets a title shot at Grand Slam. And Advocate, you'll like this one if you haven't
Oh,
seen it
Buddy
already.
Matthews versus Will
Battle in the
Ospreay.
No. Battle in the Valley this weekend. They're doing a women's elimination match. It has Viva Van, Hanako, Micah, Mina Shirakawa, Anna Jay, Trisha Dora, Johnny Robbie, and AZM, Azora Razumi.
Oh, nice.
So that's going to be on Battle in the
And
Valley.
what does the winner get?
Yeah. One fall, no. Doesn't say yet. I just found this. It was in our
Oh,
chat.
okay. I haven't looked at the
So I don't know if
chat.
it's yeah.
Well,
But
that's cool.
yeah, so women getting presented quite well all
I
over.
wanted to go. I got to work Sunday, but I was like, I wanted to go to Battle in the Valley. It's such a far drive, though. It's like 5 hours away.
Oh wow.
Well, I went to Fantastica Mania, and it was a really fun show. Even though they only had 7 matches, I was like, that's kind of bullshit. But it was like 100 degrees in that venue, which was basically like a high school gym.
Damn.
But it was a really fun show, man.
Well, here it is. We get that, as Chris was talking about it, WrestleMania level PLE event. Punk and Rollins. I just want to give my quick thoughts. I thought it was pretty cool because really for the first time when Rollins was coming down, like I hate his theme song, to be honest. I think it's really cringe. But I did think it was cool when he was kind of like swinging the jacket around and throwing it, and he was like, let's do this. I thought that was really cool. CM Punk came out for the big reaction. But it's like Stampede said. I mean, I think I was expecting a little more. And it didn't really get past, like he said, a lot of what they did with Moxley over in that other place. Main event, guys. What are your thoughts on it?
AEW as a name.
Yeah, but I would say like yeah, I thought that that was not I wasn't particularly fond of the match. I didn't think it was terrible or anything, but um the thing about it is this about Drew match and the Hell in the Cell match was fucking awesome, and the strap match was
Yeah.
good too. But that first match I thought like was bad, kind of like I thought this match was like because it's like they did all of this great work building up to the match, like in these like really heat promo segments and stuff, and then
Yeah.
there's no heat in the match. Then
Yeah,
you're doing like
they
reference
just kind of
spots and
threw it out
stuff.
there. They just kind of
Yeah,
threw it out there. And I think that was really disappointing too, because I mean, a couple months ago we were talking about how Seth and Punk could really be like a WrestleMania. I think people would have believed it. But if you would have gave them this match,
yeah.
I think people would have been really disappointed. So I'm kind of glad that
It's
we just got it on a Raw. I don't know if they told them, tone it down
yeah,
because we're just on a Raw. But what I want to bring up to you guys, and I'm not the biggest CM Punk fan. I don't hate him. I appreciate that he's there for fans that really want to see him. But it's starting to kind of come clear to me, and I don't think it's necessarily age, but it does seem like he works better matches when there's a lot of shortcuts. Brawling and kind of bringing the blood back out and the weapons and stuff. I think that really masked what his ability is to just do a straight, like I said before, like this was going to test him, how well can you adapt to a WWE singles match?
hmm
And I don't really know how, I wouldn't say he failed, but like it was just kind of a match.
yeah. No, I mean I've always had. I think that that's a valid criticism of CM Punk is that like oh like he's like not a very athletic guy. It's like, oh, his matches, like, and sometimes, like I said, when he's doing like the brawling and like the sort of wild stuff, it works because it makes sense in the context of the match. But, he's kind of sloppy, like with his offense. Um, and yeah, like I said, like this match just didn't have any heat for me. And it was so funny too because they did the reference to the Mox match from 2022, which I thought was a way, way better match, but I thought the build to this was better than the build to Mox versus Punk in
Yeah.
2022, but then the match was way better than this one. That match is like, we were talking about it in a space I had earlier. Like, people don't really talk about that match anymore, but that's like a really good, like, somebody had said it's one of like AEW's most underrated main events. Like, it's a good match, man.
Chris?
Yeah. Well, that was the main event after nearly 3 hours of a very underwhelming
Yeah.
show. It was
And wasn't
nearly
this one
5
just the
a.m.
icing on the cake?
Yeah, it was nearly 5 a.m. on my
Oh,
time.
man.
I was off. I was off. Uh, it was just a good match, but not memorable. I expected CM Punk to win, so I was not
Yeah.
surprised. I don't think this is over. I think this is a feud that's gonna be going. I don't know if it's gonna be going into WrestleMania, but it's probably not a one-off. But again, I mean, it was supposed to be built as a WrestleMania match, and they throw it away on that show as the main event over what was probably the bigger match because of the story, not because of the people in. I mean, Roman versus Solo had a really purpose. I mean, it was for the Ulafala, for the position of tribal chief, with a lot of. I mean, Paul Heyman what he was gonna do. There was a lot of intrigue. I think this match should have been the main event.
Yeah, I kind of agree, and that's what I thought going in. I think I actually think Seth and Punk wouldn't have been a bad start to the show.
Yeah, I was off. I was off. I watched the match. It was a good match, and I was like, okay, Punk win. Yeah, whatever. End of the show. Let's go to bed.
Yeah, like people always talk about how he's such this great wrestler and everything, and I understand he did stuff in Ring of Honor and all this stuff, but when I seen him in there, and yes, he's a bit older now, but it's like I wasn't really seeing it. He's like a very standard wrestler. Like even when they went to the top rope and he did that swinging neck breaker, I was like, that's kind of showing his age. That would be like a big spot.
Yeah. People need to understand something. This is 2025 CM Punk. This isn't 2011 CM Punk anymore. Okay, he can. I mean, he can still say he's the best in the world because it's part of his gimmick. But back in the day, like around 2010, 2011, when he had a feud with John Cena, he was the best in the world. Now he's not anymore because he's older, and people needs to realize that. Okay, we are not gonna get the CM Punk from 15 years ago anymore. It's over. He's old. He's old. He's not so much healthy anymore. He said it himself during the press conference after the show. He's at the end of the road. He knows it, and we got to accept
Yeah,
it.
like I said, I mean, that's why I'm like, he might not be my favorite, but I do appreciate, like, for the really big fans of his that they're getting to see him in this last run. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and apparently everything is doing well for him backstage in WWE with other people, with the young talents. So this is good. I mean, he has a good run. This is his last chance, and for the moment, he's taking it. He's taking the ball. He's not dropping it, and that's good. Um, but we are not going to get the same CM Punk that we had back in the day when he faces John Cena, Triple H, Jericho. It's not the same. So I think we can still be, as fans, lucky to have him in 2025 in the WWE on a top level. But he's older. I mean, it's just the way it is.
Stampede, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I mean he is older. He's in his late 40s now. But there's a few guys around.
Yeah.
I watched a gentleman this weekend, Tomohiro Ishii, in his match with Konosuke Takeshita. That guy's 49, and like he was delivering at a top level. They can't do it like consistently, like week in week out, but they can. And Punk proved it in the match with Drew at Hell in the Cell, right? Like he delivered really well.
Yeah, he
in
did.
that match. That match, right? It's the only match that he's really delivered in so far. But so they can do it like at that age, right? One guy I'm worried about though is Cena a bit.
Really? Why is that?
I haven't seen. I haven't seen. It's been about 7-8 years since he put on anything.
It'll be interesting. But I find with his. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna.
Yeah, no, but it's been.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say it's been a while for him. Granted, he doesn't wrestle very often, which probably plays a part into it. But I don't know what to expect out of his last run as far as what he's going to be able to deliver on in the ring. He'll really have to get in there with the right opponent. But I think Cody is one of the right ones to do it. Cody will.
I think the difference between like Punk and Cena too is like Cena is good at that WE style that I talk about. He's very formulaic, but he hits his spots, he gets reactions. But I think with like CM Punk, it's more like he's trying to innovate or he's trying to make things different or he's trying to kind of keep up with the younger guys. And I think this match kind of showed like he couldn't really quite do that. But I mean, with Cena, I mean, I feel like with him, I mean, benefit of the doubt. He'll be in there and he'll be like riding a bike. You know, he'll do his backdrop. He'll be running against the ropes with the shoulder block. Like that's what he does. But I think with Punk, he's more like, well, what can I do tonight that's going to be different than I did 10 years ago? Like he seems like more in that mindset.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Cena is training hard because I mean, he announced his farewell tour a few months ago, so I'm sure he didn't waste his time. He keep training to be in the best shape that he can be, and and also, I mean, after all, this is a farewell tour. It's more about it's more about the moments. It's not about him having banger 5-star match to please Dave Meltzer.
Yeah.
It's not about that. Okay, it's about, yeah, it's about enjoying John Cena during his last year as a professional wrestler. That's what it's about.
Stampede, you got the hand up.
Oh, it's just the hand up
Oh,
from
sorry.
before. But yeah, on Cena, I mean, I was never. I can respect what Cena has done like
Yeah.
over the years, and I get it, right? I was never a big fan. Just, like I just never get into the character that much. But like he was a guy that when the time needed it, like he could bust out a 9 out of 10 match when needed, right? Just didn't happen all the time. So I can respect the wrestler, but not have a whole lot of interest in them at
Right.
the same time. So, Cena kind of falls into that category.
Yeah, like I said, I think he's good at doing a formula. Like when it comes to a scripted WWE entertainment based match, I think he's like one of the best. He probably is right up there with like Shawn Michaels, you know, who like those type of guys. But I think that clashes with the values of people who like real wrestling, like you watching all this New Japan stuff or whatever it is. Like,
Yeah.
but I think for like the casual to hardcore, strictly WWE audience, I think he hits his marks.
Yeah, and
Oh, for that audience, yeah, they'll eat that up. Like that particular fan portion of the fan base, they'll eat up whatever he's going to do. Absolutely, yeah.
Cena was a great character. Not necessarily. I mean, he was never the best wrestler, but he was a great character. And I think that if you are a fan from a lot of fans from this generation now who just cared about matches and matches, you won't be really into John Cena. But if you're a fan of true sports entertainment, uh, you will probably enjoy it more. And I can say I've been a member of the C Nation for 20 years. So for me, I've never been disappointed. Uh, just I felt sad when he faced Theory at WrestleMania on his last WrestleMania match, because the match was really not good, and it was not good for Cena, but it was certainly not good for Theory, and it's like he still hasn't recovered from that, unfortunately. So, but uh, I think it's not about him having great matches. He had great matches in his career. I mean, Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 23 was probably one of his best. But he was never a Shawn Michaels, for instance. He was never able to perform at the level of a Shawn
Right.
Michaels or CM Punk when he was younger, or Chris Jericho. You know, Cena was never that kind. It's kind of like Hogan. Hogan was never a great wrestler, but he was a larger than life character. That's what it's about.
Well, really quickly, just since we're getting to the end of the show, I have to say, I mean, I'm from Canada and I know Stampede is, and I've just been kind of flipping through like the WWE Netflix vault or whatever you want to call it, and there's a lot of good stuff on there.
I can't comment on that because at the moment in my country we don't have WWE on Netflix,
Right.
so I can tell.
So we kind of got to the end of the show, so I'll just give it a couple minutes to see if there's anything else you guys want to talk about. Feel free. Any questions or thoughts?
Yeah, I see Tony Khan decided to get me something for my
What's
birthday
that?
tomorrow. It's a three-way for the number one spot in the women's casino gauntlet. Chris Statlander, Willow Nightingale, and that rookie that they just picked up, that Tony
Right.
Storm one. I think she shows.
Oh yeah, that
And-
actually does sound pretty good. They're gonna have to really pull out a big show this week, I think.
And what does the winner get?
They get a title shot at Maximum Carnage.
Maximum Carnage.
Oh no, the
title-
winner of the three-way gets a shot in
No.
the Casino Gauntlet at Maximum Carnage, and the winner of that
they-
gets a world title
yeah,
shot at Grand Slam.
So they are gonna do a
You got
triple threat match to qualify for a battle royal to be the number one contender.
Yes. Well,
Not
it's a
no,
gauntlet
no,
match, not a
not-
battle
not-
royal.
Not a battle royal, it's the gauntlet. So the winner of the match tomorrow, right, gets the number one spot. So they get in the ring first because you have to pin your opponent in this. It's not an over the top.
It's a gauntlet match. Okay, sorry, I misunderstood. I thought it was a battle royal.
Well, it's easy to do.
Okay,
They have
well,
a casino battle royal as well. They do too many like gambling puns. AEW.
Yeah, Tony Khan is obsessed with casino battle
Yeah.
royal. He should go to Las Vegas. The guy.
Mm,
I guess we're gonna get Bobby Lashley in action.
yeah, Bobby Lashley, Mark Briscoe,
Jeff Jarrett appearing live.
Yeah,
I'm just looking through the card here. It looks not too bad. MJF appearing live.
we're getting that Will Ospreay, Buddy Matthews match. I'm really excited for that one.
Yeah, again,
That'll be as good old JR would say a slobber
Yeah.
knocker.
a bunch of matches that's not gonna draw 600,000 million viewers.
But I think you'll really see that
That
the
was funny.
quality
That
of
was funny,
of the AEW show coming up is probably going to give what they did in WWE in the ring quite a run for its money. It's like I've said, I think they're doing like the exact opposite of each other, and they're both doing things in good ways, but bad things in other ways. And I think it's just the division of the type of fans that is causing the real issues between the company, I think.
Oh, the force of AEW has always been the wrestling quality. Unfortunately, that's pretty much all they got, and that's the problem.
I don't agree with that.
It's
I
like
feel like
those
that they
fans
over
that-
2024 they told some excellent stories, especially with Tony Storm and
Yeah.
Mariah May, with Swerve and Hangman. Like I think that they did some really excellent. And they do a lot of different types of stories. It's like sometimes they'll do something like MJF versus Will Ospreay, which is like kind of like like a play on your traditional like foreign heel gimmick from like the 1980s, and it's a fun sort of subversion of that. Or they'll do something
Well-
that's like a blood feud, you know what I mean, like with like Moxley and Danielson. Or they'll do something where it's like, one of the things I really like about AEW is that they're willing to tell stories or finish stories that didn't happen in their company.
Right.
Like that run
That's
that
a
they
good
did
point.
with Claudio and Eddie, I thought was brilliant. Last year.
Well, everybody is entitled to love what he loves, but the ratings at the moment are very, very telling of that. That's not good at all.
What did you
what
guys
was the
think
rating?
of?
I didn't
you
see
get-
any ratings.
Yeah. But then you
I
get
post-
fans that
I post the rating
they-
every
but
week
then
on
you
my
get
page,
fans-
so if
Chris-
you want to check.
Yeah, but then you get fans like Chris here, right? When they go to they don't tell stories. When that fails, then they go to their fallback one, which is ratings, which is no longer relevant, and they weren't relevant before. Just thought I'd point that out for you, Chris.
No, it was relevant
Because
when
I know you love the attention, man.
yeah,
so
it was
you're
relevant when AEW
Yeah.
was doing good numbers, right?
right.
Yeah, but now
Right.
now conveniently it's not
Dated
anymore.
system.
But I mean, also you got to remember
fucking-
too here, Chris. Like this is the thing: is that like wrestling? Like depending on how much money you're willing to spend on it, like histories go long. Like right
Yeah.
now, they're in a down period. Their down period's not even as bad as WCW in the 90s. WCW were doing house shows in arenas that were drawing 300 and 400 people. You know, things were very bad. But the thing was it was owned by Ted Turner, who was a billionaire, and he kept putting money into it until it got hot again, and then it didn't. You know, TNA, they're on a bit of a renaissance right now. Like they haven't made money. Like they've been around over 20 years. In that 20 years, they made money like 2 years of it in like 2006, 2007. And that's about it.
Yeah,
You know, but
TNA
if
was
somebody
so
wants to
That's the
keep
on.
problem.
investing in it, you can get hot again. Like that's the
Yeah,
thing.
but
You
TNA
just
was
have
on
to you just have to wait through, and you have to try things until you catch on something that catches fire. You know, the
yeah.
thing about AEW is
Unfortunately,
like in the beginning they relied too
I agree.
heavily on trying to get like a big name like CM Punk or like this guy or that guy, when they need to, you know, like focus more on getting the audience to care about the people that you have and like building them out. Like I said, Swerve wasn't like
Unfortunately
that. He
for you,
started out
Tony
as a
Khan,
mid carder,
This
and
is
then he was
incredible.
able to rise to the main event through the force of like his good storytelling, his great in-ring match, you know, like his great in-ring matches and his you know, for lack of a better term, aura. You know, there's a, you know, but that's the thing is like people are always like, "Oh, like this and that." I'm like, "Look, man, like it's going to be around as long as Tony Khan wants to keep investing in it."
Yeah.
And it might take a
yeah, and
while,
it's
but
gonna
you
be
know, it's not
down.
impossible for them to get hot again.
And it's going to be down as long as Tony Khan is in charge. And that's the difference. Because you spoke about WCW back in the day. The big difference is who was in charge. Ted Turner made the best decision of his life when he hired Eric Bischoff. Eric Bischoff is the one who put WCW on the map. He's the one, the only one, I might add, who beat WWE, WWF on the ratings for 83 consecutive weeks
Yeah, and
on a
then
time
he
where
lost and he
wrestling was
got
hot.
fired because he only had one idea.
But
He
isn't it
only had one
interesting?
Yeah,
idea
but that idea drew more
for two
numbers than
years, and then they
Well,
AEW
no,
started
ever
hold
losing
did.
on,
money
hold on.
again. It drew
I'm gonna
money for
bring
2 years.
I'm gonna bring
It
this
drew,
up because
well,
I
I
think
guess
it's
3
really
years. It drew money
interesting.
from the end of 96 through 99.
I think
So
it's
3
really
years.
interesting because if you really do kind of look at it, I mean, at least in my opinion, just off the top of my head, Eric and Tony, you know, are doing very similar things. You know, Eric's
Everybody
seen what they were
does.
doing over there in Japan.
They did the
He's
same
seen
thing
what
in
they were doing
TNA.
in Mexico.
They do it everywhere. It's just like that's the thing is like people always think about, you know, like, oh, like why do wrestling bookers make the decisions that they make? And it's because of immediacy. You know, it's like, oh, you're putting Adam Copeland on top right now, like in the main event, because it's like, oh, he drew money before, so
Right.
hopefully he'll draw money again. And in an ideal world, you'll do what Kenny Omega did for Gabe Kidd at Wrestle Dynasty, and it's like you make somebody. And that's what AEW, like, you know, like that's what they have to do right now, is they have to figure out who they're going to make and make them. You know,
After 5 years,
Swerve is a great choice. You know, Will Ospreay is a great choice. You know, like Darby's a great choice. You've got some guys that you can
Osprey.
make, but you just gotta commit to it and make them.
I'm just gonna give a moment to this guy who
Osprey
just
just did
joined.
that with
Oh,
Just
Leo,
let
what's up, Leo?
and Osprey just did
yeah. How are you doing,
Oh,
Leo?
Osprey just did that with
what's up, guys? Hey, listen, I I can't believe what I'm hearing from Chris here. Like, you want to talk about WCW
Well, I
in
was
their
talking
down
about
period,
WCW. To be fair, I was the one who brought it up.
but you don't know the half of the horrendousness of WCW, man.
the
And I'm talking the
horrendousness.
like you said that Eric Bischoff is the one responsible for WCW in its good period, right? How did that work out in the end? Exactly,
Yeah,
it bombed.
Vince
And,
Russo
and
killed WCW, not Eric Bischoff.
They brought Bischoff back though. He couldn't, you know, what happened then?
Yeah,
yeah, and what's Eric
and then he
Bischoff
left.
doing? And what's Eric Bischoff doing right now? He's he's bashing the company of
He did have a
AEW.
WWE appearance. He has that major radio program.
Yeah, isn't he like a
Yeah.
mortgage
Yeah,
broker or
but he's
something now?
yeah, and he's criticizing the company for particularly no reason,
No,
like all the
he
other
spoke
drifters.
about what he knows. No, he spoke about what he knows. If anybody on the wrestling industry as a promoter or an
But I'm
ex-promoter
saying if he
is
knows so much
legit
about the
to
wrestling
talk
business,
about
why is he a
that,
mortgage broker now? Why doesn't he work in it anymore? Like, why is he doing all these guys who know
don't you
so much about the
don't you
wrestling
think he can?
business? Why are you
Yeah,
podcasting? Like, why
because
aren't
he
you working in
deserves
the business? Like, why aren't you making money? You know, like,
Right,
it's
because
like
he
the, it's like
deserves
the
his
old
right.
retirement.
expression. You ever heard the expression, those who can't do teach?
Yeah,
Those who
he
can't draw
deserves his retirement.
podcast.
When Tony Khan will have done everything that Eric Bischoff has done, like beat WWF on the ratings for 83
They did.
consecutive weeks,
They beat
he will
NXT
be
for
he will
longer
be
than that. They
deserving of a
actually
title.
won their war. What are you
What
talking
war?
about? NXT moved
Which
nights.
war?
You don't
Which
remember?
war? Dynamite, the flagship show of
It was
AEW,
the only
is
show of AEW
is
at the
beaten by
time.
a developmental show. What are you talking me
Wow.
about?
They're
They
going to
can't
have The
even beat
Rock on there tonight.
NXT.
They're going to have The Rock on a developmental show?
They
The
can't even
Rock?
beat
They had Cody
NXT.
on there? You know, like, I was like,
What
then
are
they
you
had John
talking me
Cena on
about?
there on
They
developmental? Chris, come
they
on,
won the
man.
war.
You know, like, hey,
They
man, I'm
won the
okay
war.
with people and having a difference of opinions, but like, let's not be
No,
disingenuous.
it's not difference of opinion. It's nonsense. You tell me they won the war. A show who doesn't even draw 600,000
I'm
viewers.
saying they won the
They won
Wednesday
the
night
war.
war. Yeah. Is NXT on Wednesday nights?
NXT
No.
It's
the
not.
last three times
What night did
the
it used
last
to be
3 times
on? Chris,
NXT
what night did it used to be on? It used to
the
be on
last
what night?
Tu-
What night was it
Tuesday
on,
nights.
Chris? Chris, tell me, what
times
night was it
NXT
on?
was on.
Don't what night was
Check
it
on the
on?
ratings. Yeah, check on the ratings. The last 3 times that
Chris,
NXT
what
was
night
on the
was
What
it
night
screen,
on?
was it
What
on,
who
night
won?
was it
Chris?
on, Chris? Why can't you answer the question?
What night
Why
was it
can't you
on?
answer the
What night did
question, Chris?
NXT used to come on?
Do
The
you
last
not know
three
the days
times
of
they
the week,
were on
Chris? You can run
Wednesday.
them down for you.
The last 3 times they were on Wednesday.
Right, what
NXT
night
Okay,
was
won
it
well, why
on,
do you
three
Chris?
keep
times in
changing
a
the
row.
subject? What night was it on, Chris?
On
Tuesday.
Wednesday
Exactly.
night.
What night is it on now?
Right.
So
Tuesday night.
No, what night
the
is it on
ratings
now,
are
Chris?
still
You're
better.
avoiding the question again. What night is it on now? Come on, you can do it. You can do it, Chris. Come on.
You all AEW marks are as delusional as you are funny.
It never
It's
takes
so funny
long
too
for
because it's like
people
I don't
like
even
Chris to
dislike
show their true
WWE,
colors.
but I'm like,
What?
I
I'm
put
like,
on the
bro, I
Never
think
numbers.
takes
Gunther
long.
fucking
If
rules,
you really
man.
want to
Like,
see, if
it's
you
so
want,
funny because it's like,
if you
oh,
really
anytime
want to
somebody
see the
pushes back
numbers,
about somebody,
get
they
on my
accuse you of
page.
tribalism. Think bad
Hey,
about
numbers
The
WWE?
thing
don't
with Chris
lie.
is,
What have I
You
said bad
can
about
be
the thing with
delusional
WWE?
Chris
as you
is,
want. Numbers don't lie. That's all I got to say to you.
Num-
Numbers don't lie. I can lie. You can lie. Numbers
you
don't
do
lie.
lie, Chris. You lie
Bottom
all
line.
the
hey,
time.
Hey, what's up,
if I may
DeAndre?
enter,
Yeah,
what's
we have
up?
a new guy in here. There's a couple people I've never talked to before, so welcome to the
Oh,
show. But we do have this DeAndre dude. Do you have something you want to bring up?
I just wanted to say something about that numbers thing. You are 100% right. Numbers never lie. However, there are always context behind those numbers as well. So if you're
Right.
talking about 800,000 viewers, it's how many of those 800,000 viewers actually stayed and watched, or how many of those 800,000 viewers only turned on the show and went off to go do something else while the show was still running. There's always context behind it. And on top of that, there is two different avenues on how ratings are viewed in terms of the TV industry. So Fox Sports and Fox News value ratings because that tells them it's the old fashioned, okay, these are the shows that are hot, these are the shows that are not so hot. So these shows got to go. Hence why SmackDown had to leave because they promised 2 million viewers. Fox was like, well, we never have really had a show that averaged 2 million viewers. If we have a show that averaged 2 million viewers, it's more money that's coming into our pockets. But they never did that. So SmackDown had to go. In terms of TBS and TNT, they see the future, which is okay, everything is mainstream streaming online, especially.
Just a quick second. On SmackDown was about 2 millions every week on Fox.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, they were.
No, it wasn't.
Yes,
No,
they
it was.
were.
No,
I
it
po- I
wasn't.
post I post the ratings number every week. I can show you.
Go ahead, show me, because I also see WrestleNomics.
Believe me,
Go
I
ahead.
will.
Go ahead and show it live, Chris. Show it.
Sorry, I'm just gonna mute everybody because it kind of is just turning everybody going against Chris, and I just want to give him a bit of respect. I've known him a long time. I know you guys have different opinions, but let's just get back to discussing this industry. Let's kind of leave Chris alone, please. It seems like it's turned. Let's see who wants to speak. If you do want to speak, put your hand up, and we'll get back on the line here. Okay, go ahead, guys. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's funny because SmackDown is now underneath 2 millions since they left Fox. On Fox, they were above 2 millions every week, and now they are a bit under 2 millions on USA Network.
Well, yeah, one's
So
network and
the-
one's cable.
these
There's like a huge difference in the amount of reach.
these people are talking about numbers that they know absolutely nothing about.
Chris, I tried to defend you, but you're digging your own hole here now.
No, but I mean, sorry for speaking about what I know. Okay, sorry if I know the numbers and they don't. I'm sorry about that. On Fox, they were above 2 millions. On USA, they are not anymore. I don't know why, but that's the
Because
way
it's
it is.
cable.
So
There's less reach. It's in less homes. When it was on Fox, it's on network. What country are you from, Chris? I'm just curious.
yeah, I'm from Belgium.
Okay, so from Belgium. So I don't know. Do you guys have network TV in Belgium?
No,
Like network
living
TV is
in
like TV that everybody has access to. Like their channels. Like if you have like a TV, it used to be if you had an antenna, you could get.
Yeah,
them.
we are a civilized country.
No,
you know?
no, it's not
We
a
have
knock
to-
or anything. I was just curious. Like I'm not trying to knock Belgium. I got no.
Listen,
I got
I'm
no
sorry.
heat with Belgium.
I'm trying to give anybody
course.
new that I haven't spoken with before a chance, and we do have this
we
guy,
we have
Chris.
television, of course. We have
Now
television, of course.
doing like Stampede, Chris. Just a second. Big Nerd Nitro. You did have your hand up. I want to welcome you to the conversation, and let's just give you a quick chance to speak about what you want or ask a question of the group. What's up?
What's up, everybody? How's everybody's day going?
Good.
Great.
Fantastic. Yeah, wrestling's great. I just want to say hi and just want to say hi and say hi to everybody. That's about it.
You didn't have anything to say on the Netflix show or this?
Oh, yeah,
industry?
Netflix show was great. It was fantastic. I like how all the faces won. I mean,
That's true.
makes
We didn't
sense
bring that
because
up.
since it's the premiere for a big new era change, so it makes sense for all the faces to win. But yeah, overall, I thought it was good. I thought they advertised the Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley match as the last woman standing, but I guess they removed it last second.
Yeah, I think Chris mentioned that as well. So Chris wasn't the only person who thought they seen that. I thought I seen that as well. So I agree.
Yeah,
with
it
you
was
there.
awkward. It was awkward. They first announced it, and then they stopped advertising it.
I
and
swore
they
I
go
could have
back to
seen
it.
that. I agree with you guys on that.
Also,
It would have
Wednesday's
been
gonna
an
be great.
interesting. It would have been an interesting match. I guess they're doing the street fight next week, so maybe that's why. But a lot of the matches on the show kind of did feel like brawls. Like even in that main event, there was a lot there brawling on the edge of the fans and stuff. So I guess I don't know. It might not have fit that well. I think Liv and Rhea needed to get back to basics and show they could do something good together after their last match. So, I mean, it would have been a cool thing to see. But yeah, I think that's the reason they did it.
I just saw Rhea. She posted on Twitter that she said she's done with Liv Morgan. Usually, when a wrestler said that, it means that it's not over.
So I want to let DeAndre have another chance to see what he wants to bring up. Go ahead. I'm just really trying to navigate everybody fairly. So sorry, guys.
Yeah. First thing I want to say is, Chris, you were right. I'm sorry, I was wrong. And when I went to go reread it, they actually promised 3 million, so I was off a million. So I was wrong. They did average 2 million viewers on SmackDown. I'm a man. I could admit when I'm wrong. But if I want to pivot towards the Netflix show,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I only tuned in for one match, and that was the tribal combat match between Roman Reigns and Solo. And that match was actually pretty good. Um, I'm am curious of how far they're gonna take this bloodline story, because for me it is kind of getting played out now. But ultimately, I want to say it to go on a premiere, especially on Netflix. That's the match you want to start off with.
Cool. Well,
Yeah,
did you have
I
any
kind of
thoughts
agree
on?
with DeAndre on that too. As like, oh, because like that match, had a lot of heat going into it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, like even like if you don't have like like even if it's not like, like a quote unquote like banger or whatever, it's like you have a lot of cool spots in there that you can do to get the crowd really hyped up. And then you have like that big finish at the end with the Una Fala and everything. Yeah, I think that I agree with that. I think it was the right match to open the show.
Mm-hmm.
Were you guys by any chance disappointed or surprised that The Rock just kind of shook Roman's hand and
Oh, I
stood to the
hated
side?
that.
Man, I was like clenching my teeth, like he's
Dude,
gonna do the rock bottom. They're setting up for it,
can I just
and
say
he
how
didn't get it.
disappointed I am in that, because it was like
I am.
the one thing they did from WrestleMania last year that really like got me to sink my teeth into all of this stuff was the stuff that The Rock did with Cody when he was like beating his
Same, I
ass in the
agree. I
ring.
man, like I'm gonna take up a space to say, man, like The Rock is the legend, yes.
Yeah,
But
but I
I've
was like
never been like the biggest Rock fan, and he kind of devolved into this hello WWE universe, just
yeah,
know what
he
The
was
Rock is
Disney Rock
cooking.
again, and I was like, oh, nobody wants to
Yeah,
see that. Like, go back to
that
being,
heel stuff that he was doing was like really it felt like he evolved, like he really did.
yeah,
Um
he should have whipped Cody's ass last night. I'm not going to see
yeah,
Moana because of it. I'm so mad about it.
so disappointed in that whole. It was just like, here's the announcement that The Rock is no longer like involved as a wrestling character.
I've still yet to see the first Moana, let alone
I
Moana
haven't
2.
either. I was just kidding. I'm
I've
like,
heard
now I
great.
have a kid. I'm probably am going to watch all of those movies eventually. Like, I have not seen like any
I
of the Toy
watched.
Story movies other than like the first one.
I watch Disney
I haven't
movies
seen
without
any of
having
them.
a kid.
What's that?
I watch a Disney movie without having a kid.
I'm
Oh
going
yeah.
to take a second, guys, because I don't know if he does want to speak, but he did request Kyle Anthony. I really wanted to hear your opinion. We already went through the show, but let's hear what you got. I'd love to hear if you got anything to say or not. So continue.
I mean, so I'm about to probably be doing something right now because I am not officially home, but something
No worries.
be doing. But okay, hold on, I can't talk right now. I'm gotta
Okay,
do
no,
something
it's
right now.
fine.
So.
That's fine. Anyway, guys, any other thoughts? Because we have a couple new people and just we're having fun. We already covered pretty much the whole show. So if there's anything you guys want to bring up,
Yeah,
just feel free.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing. Congratulations, you're home, Kyle. Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah,
That's about it. Good job. Claps.
You made it, man. For
Me
real.
too. Yeah, I agree. Thank you, Kyle, and we're hoping you're doing better.
But yeah, no, like I said, like I think that the thing that WWE like they really do the best, and I think that they nailed last night in the thing was the spectacle. They
Yeah,
did a great
I
job of
felt the
making
exact same
everything
way, man. The
feel larger than
production,
life.
was
Yeah.
modern. It was next level.
Mhm.
I just kind of struggled because I was kind of getting to the point, especially with the entrances, where I was like, the entrances just feel a little too long,
Yeah,
and then they're
it's
announcing
too,
them in the
and
ring.
every entrance shouldn't be like the Undertaker's entrance or like Roman
Yeah,
Reigns'
I was getting that
entrance.
kind of vibe. I was getting
Yeah,
that
I'm with
vibe.
you 100% on that.
Because I mean, it seems like if you want to consider what you're going to see as a match, it'd be like in WWE, you're taking in account the entrance because that's what we were saying about Jey Uso. Most people are saying that match was awesome because that entrance was so good, but I thought it was probably like the worst match on the card.
Oh yeah, I didn't like that match. The Jey Uso Drew match. The entrance was good. I'll give him that. It was a great entrance, but you know, once the bell rung, I was like, that match kind of fell apart for me.
Yeah.
I thought the goal of Drew McIntyre's current arc was to hunt down every single Bloodline member and then get revenge, but
Yeah, I
then they
was like,
just
and then
give.
you lose the first one? That's crazy.
Yeah,
You mean
really. I mean,
second
that's a
one?
lot.
Second
That
one.
has a lot to say with
second
where his
one.
career could be going. Drew should not be a guy who's about to fall off. I think he could be like one of the top big heels over there right now. And I think just to be fumbling around with the bloodline and taking a loss to like one of the lower tier bloodline guys, like that is not good for what they might have planned for him. Like he went from a really big high with Punk to that.
Yeah, but you got to remember too, sometimes, and this is not just WWE, this is wrestling as a whole.
Yeah.
It can be really hard to like come down from like those highs. Like when you
Yeah, oh
have like
yeah,
a
I can
great,
agree with that.
and that's the thing is like, like that was like one of my favorite things that they did last year in WWE was that Punk Drew feud. Like I said, other than that first match where he kissed the the dick bracelet, like I was like, that's nasty. But
Advocate chill.
like
Advocate chill. You speaking too many facts right now. Chill.
I know, but like
Chill.
but the other two matches, like I said, I really enjoyed the strap match, and I thought that the Hell in the Cell was my highest rated match on my top 100.
Yeah.
It was my highest rated WWE match, and I thought it was really, really terrific, and I thought it was like one of the best WWE matches I had seen in years.
There was a lot of shortcuts.
Well, but I don't mind the shortcuts. Like I have very broad tastes. Like I'm
Yeah, it was good, man. I liked it, but I'm
Hey,
just
yeah,
throwing
I'm like
that out there.
I'm a huge like FMW fan. Like I've like
Yeah.
seen like basically like every FMW tape. So I'm like I'm
No way.
fine with a little
That's
bit of
pretty cool.
gore, a little bit. I love a fork spot. I love seeing
Well,
somebody
yeah,
get stabbed with
I
a fork.
loved how it was kind of like a throwback to like the 2000s WWE a little bit.
And
Like
even
that's kind
further
of
than
where I
that,
felt like they were going for.
it's a real throwback to like what we have talked about before, like sort of like those wild like Mid-South wrestling or like Memphis, like like it's like a real gritty match.
Well, here's what I'll ask you. Like I mentioned, and Chris has got his hand up too, but I'll ask you this question first. So like I mentioned shortcuts. I didn't say that as a negative, but do you
I
feel
didn't
that
take it that
CM
way.
Punk is only going to perform at his best if there's a gimmick or if there's brawling or if
Just
there's
let him do the gimmicks then. I'm like, let him
yeah.
perform at his best. I think that some people just perform better under that light, like in the on the other side of it, I've always felt that way about like a Britt Baker in AEW. Is like if she just has a regular match, I've never seen her have like a really great regular match. But I'm like, if you put her in something with some weapons and some thumbtacks, I'm like, she can really deliver.
Yeah, that is true.
Mhm.
That's interesting. Chris, you got the hand up. We got this new dude,
Oh, Brandon,
Cameron
he's
Ace.
cool.
Yeah, there's something that really hit me about last night's matches. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. There were 4 matches, no heels win,
Yeah.
all baby faces. I mean, of course, Punk versus Rollins was babyface versus babyface,
Mm-hmm.
but Rhea, Roman, and Jay, all baby faces win. I think it's another indication that the main focus for them last night was really to please the audience and to bring out new fans.
Yeah, you got to remember this was almost like kind of like an introduction for. There's probably people who literally are like go home from work on their Netflix and see the WE and are like, what is that? Like, we got to remember that too. So maybe that's the
Yeah,
way
it's
they wanted
possible.
to present it, was to not throw anything like too complicated or try to show the real wrestling fans anything new. It was more like kind of geared towards, somebody could just sit down and watch this and give it a try. Like,
Yeah,
Also,
yeah. I agree. But it's very unconventional to have a wrestling show in any company and have no heels win. It's really. I mean, I cannot recall the last time it happened
Yeah, I can't
in
either.
any
Now that
wrestling
you're
show in
saying
any
that, I'm
company.
like, I can't think of one either. Or at least one heel didn't go over. Maybe
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
memorial show. Like I'm trying to think of
It's
like those
really.
old Eddie Gilbert like memorial shows or like the Kerry Von Erich, memorial shows.
Yeah, yeah, and about the entrances, I mean, you need to understand in this era, way more than before, entrances are really becoming part of the show. It's really becoming part of the entertainment. Back in the day, we had a few entrants, very special, that were distinguished themselves from the other, like The Rock, like Triple H, DX. But now it seems like they seem to be willing to give pretty much every wrestlers a really market entrance, um, and that's part of this era. I don't think it's a bad thing, to be
I,
honest,
like I said, I'm
because
I'm a fan of it sometimes, and like I think in some special occasions, like with Jay Uso, yeah, he has like a famous rapper with him. He
yeah,
can have more time on his entrance, but to me, I'm like the thing I don't like about like super long entrances, especially like week to week television, is like generally speaking, your entrance is always the same.
yeah.
I'm like, this is like dead air to me. I'm like, it's the same every week. So I'm like, like,
You got to kind of remember though too, like it's kind of got that like rock concert aspect to it for the live audience
yeah, no,
too.
I get
Like,
it for the live audience. What I would do is I would do all the big entrances, but I would do like picture in picture, so you can use like that time to like deliver story beats. Like they used to do that
yeah,
in like old like WWF.
yeah. I remember when I was a kid, there were some wrestlers that didn't even had a music
Yeah,
entrance.
you would just turn it on. They would be standing there in the ring, like,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I
So
think I think the entrances are becoming like a little bit too much of a production on their own. Where back in our era, the dude just his music hit, he walks out, he's hot, fired up. But now it's they're pointing their arms up and they're looking to the sky and they're doing slow walk. I'm really kind of starting to see the entrances getting a little bit cringy.
yeah, but there is some entrance that really deserve to be special, like Jey Uso,
Yeah.
yeah,
like for
no argument
we talk
there.
about WWE, AEW, Julia Hart, the, her entrance is really something
Yeah, she's a
else.
great
I mean,
entrance.
for me, it's the best woman's entrance at the moment in the business.
Mhm.
Uh, it's absolutely fantastic, and
And I think for big
you can
matches too,
change that.
Chris.
What?
Oh, somebody's got some noise going in the background there. Did you all
Yeah,
hear that?
yeah. I don't know who is.
Yeah.
I don't know who
I
is
don't
it.
hear it.
But it's like, and you're right too, because it's like all in like a big moment, an entrance can really sell that. Like, my favorite match from last year was Danielson versus Swerve. And a big part of the build of that is those entrances where they did Danielson's video package and then the final countdown, and Swerve came out with like
Yes,
the rappers, I forget their
absolutely.
name.
Yeah,
And it's
absolutely,
like, yeah, it just
absolutely.
made it feel so big. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
I
like
mean,
that.
Brian Danielson entrance with the final countdown, it adds something to it.
Hmm.
it it's undeniable. It's undeniable. Even though we know that when Brian Danielson is in the ring, we always gonna have a banger.
Hmm.
But this this particular entrance got you hyped.
It's funny because it's like nothing that there was anything wrong with his music. I really like that he came out to what is it, Ride of the Valkyries in WWE. I
Yeah,
like that he came out to like classical music. It made him different. But the thing about like the final countdown for him is it's like for some reason, it just feels appropriate to like the magnitude that he is as a wrestler. It's like this big bombastic song, like, and it's just like I said, it's like, yeah, as you were saying, it's like a perfect like match, like wrestler to song.
Especially when we were thinking that his match against Swerve
It was going to be
would
his
be
last
his
one.
last.
I was convinced, bro. That's one of the reasons
Yeah,
it's my
I was
match of the year.
too.
They
I mean,
totally,
AEW does that a lot where they kind of tease somebody is going to have their last match, and then it's just like the complete opposite. They did that with Dustin Rhodes a couple times.
yeah, they did it with Billy Gunn too, to a way less effective.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like it's
Oh
also some
yeah,
of
I
that's up to
remember
the
that.
performers. Like nothing against Billy Gunn, but Bryan Danielson's like one of the best of his generation. Like
Right.
it's like like there's certain people who can really, and that's the thing is he made us believe that he was going to retire. I never believed Billy Gunn was going to retire. I never believed Cody was going to retire when they ran that exact same shit.
I remember a friend of mine after we watched the segment with the House of Black, he told me, "Hey, you know what? In 3 weeks' time, Billy's back."
Bro,
That would be cool.
I hated that House of Black stuff. It's so funny because it's like I like all three of them as wrestlers, especially Brody and Buddy. I think those two are really fantastic. And like, I'm happy that Buddy's getting a singles match. He deserves more TV time, because he's really good between the ropes. But I have never liked anything House of Black has done as a unit other than that
No.
Julia Hart thing. And I was mostly happy about it because it got her away from those geeks in Varsity Blondes.
Yeah,
Hey,
I agree, and this is because of again, this is because of the way that Tony Khan has booked them. I promise you, bring the House of Black to the WWE, and you will
But I
see
don't think I
what
would, to be
Triple H
honest
is
with you,
gonna
because I
do.
don't like the Wyatt Six either, or that other spooky pervert faction that they have. Like, I'm just not into this stuff.
Well, me, I am.
Yeah.
I am into this. I was a huge Bray
Yeah.
Wyatt
So
fan.
I'm like, I think
But the
that I was
one,
like, oh, I
but
think I'd probably like it even.
but Advocate, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Did you like Malachi's Black gimmick in NXT?
To be honest, I have not watched much of like the stuff he
Triple
did
H
in
took
NXT.
credit for his creation.
But in general, I don't like sort of like, oh, like I'm like a spooky magic guy gimmicks. Controversially, I'm not a fan of the Undertaker, for that reason, or Kane. Like when I was a kid,
oh
even
my
when I was a
God,
kid, I thought that was stupid. I was like, so what? He's like, he
Really?
has magic, he has lightning powers, he's a zombie. Like, I'm like,
Bro,
why are you
when I
wrestling?
was a,
Like,
when
there's
I was
certainly
a
something more productive an undead magic man could do than win wrestling championships.
That's funny to put it that way.
but the Wyatt Six, they are not so spooky as a lot of people thought that they would be.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just not my thing. And like I said, I'm not knocking
I
people
just
who
feel
like
like, in my opinion, like I feel like a group like that right now just doesn't fit in WE. Like, I think WE is actually doing a pretty good job at making like more realistic
Yeah,
type
more
wrestlers. Like,
sportsy.
there's
And that's what I
yeah,
like,
I think
and like
that
I
they
know
are
that's not
doing
for
good at
everybody,
that.
but
Like,
I like the more
if you
sportsy
look at
feel.
every guy on this show, like there was no character, like you know what I mean? There wasn't a guy dressed up as a frog or something. It was
Everybody
all
was
like,
just a guy.
yeah, and I think WE is finally getting a good grasp on that. I got to give them credit for that.
Yeah, I'm happy that we're out of the
But
era
that's
where you have
sorry,
to have
but
some
that's why
other
I
sort
think
of like
sorry.
thing. Oh no, go ahead, man. I mean,
That's why I think the Wyatt Six isn't really gonna work here now.
yeah, like I said, it's not even anything like I'm not knocking people who like stuff like House of Black or Wyatt Six or Wyatt Family, like any of that stuff. I'm not knocking you. Like I said, like I think like wrestling is just like any other art form. Like it's open to taste and interpretation. Like I don't like heavy metal music, for example, but I don't, other people, love it. I think that's fine. But yeah, it's just not for me. It's like I said, same thing with the Undertaker. No disrespect to the Taker fans. It's just not my thing.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. Anyway, guys, I do apologize. I tried to go as long as I could. I got to do some things tonight, but thank you so much, everybody, for joining in. PWR Wrestle Line live on Netflix. Recap. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Big, The Advocate, Don Dre, and Jose Alamone.
And this will be for a recap on demand. So thank you, everybody. But I got to head out. Thank you so much.